Boys and 69% stepmom sisters, good news. The Bethesda check just cleared. Bethesda check? Who said Bethesda check? Did you say Bethesda check? Bethesda checks aren't real. Access Media is not a real thing. Shilling doesn't exist. Woke is a made-up term. That's right, boys. Luke is gonna tell us how absolutely amazing the new Starfield update is. I'm sure he's gonna be extremely right.
Well, everybody, it's a day ending in the letter Y, which means it's time for Luke Stevens to make another Starfield video, because of course it is. And that's why it's all the better that Starfield actually just this afternoon received an update, finally, from BGS. And I'm
He's right about the finally part.
just gonna brace you. It is somehow even less remarkable than you could possibly imagine. Like, somehow it's even more lame.
Brave words from someone who says Starfield's a good game.
And hilariously stupid than you could imagine. So we're going to talk about that, but I more importantly want to talk about the future of Starfield, because I actually,
You know, what is a thing with all the Starfield shill channels that I have noticed, but Luke somehow magically avoids? Yes, Luke is advanced, but I think it's luckily. Because every time Luke wants Starfield footage, he's just riding the buggy, okay? He's just doing this. Every other, though, Starfield Good channel does gameplay footage of shooting and whatnot. And, well, if you have watched Juice's videos, Maddie's videos, Joy Raptors, there's a lot of shill channels out there. You can notice one thing, that every single time they talk about Starfield, you can see them play. Their level never goes up. The weapons that they use never change, and the footage they use kind of goes on repeat after a while. Yeah, it's pretty hilarious how these people are constantly telling you Starfield is a great game, full of potential, and now here's 2 months old recycled footage because I don't play the game, but I'm gonna tell you how great the game is anyway. Okay? I have to give it to Lukey Poo. He's really good at a couple of things. One is obviously plagiarizing and stealing Dark Souls videos, and the second one is at least he actually logs in and rides with the buggy a little bit, and that's original.
I actually do think we are approaching the end of Starfield's life cycle, and I do think they're revving up for the final update and expansion that I think we will get.
I'm just gonna say, I called that. I called it. Remember when I said that was gonna happen? I told you. How long have I been saying Starfield is dead, okay? Because Starfield's updates are woefully slow, even for Bethesda tier.
In just a handful of weeks, an announcement on. So buckle up, it's going to be interesting, and you know, it's just good sometimes to get back into the swing of things with Starfield, because it's
Nah. I think this is also recycled footage. He has used this weapon before, okay? It's rare that we see this footage, but hey, it is what it is.
kind of like visiting your family, you know, like a distant relative or something that lives out of state. You go because you need to go once a year and talk with them and see what's up, and you just got to get it over with. And once you do, it's good. You feel like you accomplished something. You didn't really have that much.
I never understood these type of stories about distant relatives. Do you not like your relatives, and why the fuck do you go to them? I don't understand this.
Fun, you know. You're like, yeah, visiting Meemaw wasn't super.
Are you the bad person in this story because you seemingly hate your relatives, or are your relatives the bad people in the story because they're atrocious people? I don't exactly understand these stories.
For fun, but I'm glad I did it. You know, I needed to do it. I'm glad I did it.
But by the way, that's not even throwing shade at Luke or anything like that. I just don't understand these stories about, oh, we gotta go to the relatives that we hate, and they hate us, so why? Just don't.
Meant a lot to her, so I think that's what makes it worth it. That's visiting Starfield again for me. It's like visiting your grumpy grandparent who doesn't bother to learn your name. You know, I don't have repressed trauma. Shut up. Let's talk about our sponsor real quick and then get into the nitty gritty.
Oh
But first, a
boy.
thank you to our sponsor.
Look, by the way, you're literally a Nippo baby. People commented when I asked, is Luke a Nippo baby? Because, I mean, he just radiates that energy, right? And people said, oh yeah, his family is supposed to be a bunch of liars or something like that. I mean, checks out if you ask me, honestly.
Regretted. Okay, we're back. Starfield is a game that still exists, and it did just receive an
That cardboard cutout of Todd Howard is longer than Todd Howard actually is in real life.
update. Yes, my friends, they posted the first update in months and months and months. And what it was this right here. As you can see, it is an update that is specifically locked to the beta branch, beta of Starfield. And it includes minor improvements to format the display of the creations menu.
Okay, they literally just should have said this whole update is just minor, no one cares improvements. Moving on.
Which, if you didn't know, is their in-game store where they have microtransactions, which are basically what they just call paid mods.
Good.
And stuff.
The 3K people currently drooling playing this slop are probably at least happy about that, because let's be honest, there's nothing else they probably do in this game.
So the in-game store received a facelift. There you go. They addressed an issue that could cause extreme temperature gear to appear incorrectly. Oh, okay. Minor improvements to sorting in the missions menu. Just minor improvements, so just little stuff. And then general crash and stability fixes. And that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. People have been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And this is the whole thing. And as you can see, 404 upvotes. That's cool. The comments on this, after 7 months of radio silence, I gotta say, this is quite disheartening. I'm not demanding free and new content from a single player.
I am demanding free and new content, though, by the way. Make no mistake. I am not gonna say, oh, Bethesda Starfield's it's a game you sell microtransactions in. I will demand free shit because you demand my money in passive ways, okay? I am not going to be shamed into being silent about the fact that, yeah, you should do bigger updates and give us free stuff.
Game, but to see that in all the time that has passed, there's not even an attempt to improve the gameplay loop, the lack of uniquely generated POIs, the neutered legendary system, and the ridiculous level scaling is just saddening. I'm still holding on to some hope that DLC 2 can be an honest improvement to the game, but to see so little
I'm sure the writers are very hard working currently to make House Varun 2.0, but even with dumber lore.
Acknowledgement from Bethesda, or even an attempt at all to improve things, is just disappointing. It's probably easier to just move on, but nobody wants a game to be bad. We come here to play good games and enjoy life. I think things can steer in a better direction. I'm not angry, just disappointed, which I think is accurate from most of us. And you know, the general sentiment is pretty much in line with this. What a joke, a nothing burger, disheartening. Could you please remake Morrowind?
Throw. Base.
It's just funny that somebody's like, this is the time to ask. Maybe they'll listen to me if I ask here. It's just, sorry, that's funny. Caught me off guard. Anyway, you might be wondering, after all these months of silence, what is that referring to? Well, the last time we actually got a clear update on Starfield was actually...
Look, no one's referring about the concept of months of silence. Everyone understands it's been forever since the last update. No one is asking, well, what does months of silence refer to? Is that like a puzzle? Yes, Luke, it's a fucking puzzle.
Back in March, the official Starfield X account replied to Planetary Union Captain Aura Wolf, who was asking for more updates and clarity on what was happening with the game. And they said, we know you're eager for an update, and we truly appreciate your passion for Starfield. The team has been hard at work, and while we're not ready to share specific details yet, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year that we...
A bunch of people off the streets of San Francisco overdosing on pick your poison, honestly, at this point, would make a better game than Starfield, and would 100% make a more impactful update than what we have got here.
Can't wait to talk about when the time is right. We're always listening and taking your feedback to heart. Thanks for being a part of this journey with us. They say they're listening. They say they're working. They have a lot of interest.
This is the same when Blizzard has now been repeating for 5 years. We understand we messed up. We're now taking your feedback. It's been 5 years, boys. I'm sure that sentence is coming along nicely.
And exciting things planned is what they claim. And at this point, we are in July, late July, and we still have no updates. We still have nothing from them. Like, we have nothing. They did share this, which is a trailer from Kingeth Creations on a mod called Watchtower. This was shared back in May, and it is a mod.
Do not buy that slop, okay?
Not made by Bethesda. It's made by Kingeth Creations. And it is, by all accounts, better than anything BGS has made.
Yeah, no, it's still garbage. Better than Bethesda doesn't mean a lot nowadays. It's still garbage, okay? I don't want to. I listen. I do not want to hear about that stupid mod again. It's unfunctional. It's stupid. It's boring. It's like it's like the last time everyone shilled the Bard College. Oh, the Bard College, it's garbage. It's literal garbage.
Of course he doesn't care. But here's the thing. There is allegedly a second expansion still coming to the game. This is something Todd has alluded to multiple times, including BGS themselves, and it's also been leaked. In this interview from June 16th of 2024, Mr. Matty Plays spoke to Todd about all sorts of stuff. And in this interview, he actually asks him a question about, at that time, the as of yet unreleased Shattered Space expansion, and Todd actually mentions that they are working on the next expansion after it as well, which would be the 2025 expansion. Take a listen.
Now, you mentioned annual expansions, so is that like the plan, like each year, because you mentioned year 2 Starfield, each year is going to have like a new story expansion? Because I won't spoil it for anyone listening, so don't worry, but Starfield kind of ends in a spot where I think there's a full circle moment, but there's also like, I have some questions. And I think Shattered Space with Andreja, like, is answering some questions. So is the...
Does it actually answer any questions?
Oh, we were all so naive at the time, thinking it...
Talk about yourself. I said that Shattered Space is going to be ass. I literally told you that they're making a House Varun expansion because we do not know anything about House Varun, and that's the saving grace why people are interested in it, because every other piece of lore in Starfield is literally garbage. Okay? And the moment that they flesh out the House Varun lore, it's also going to be complete garbage. Which it is!
Would answer anything, but yeah, continue, Todd, continue.
Idea to continue to answer those questions in continuous years with expansions, not to lock you guys in too hard. I know things change, but would you say you're aiming to do like an annual story expansion every year?
I would say we want to, more or less, yeah. How long that continues, hopefully a very long time, but we're planning for the one after this. So there will be another one. And I don't...
There will be another one. There will be another one. He's committing to it there. Now, there have been waves and waves of layoffs. I hear you barking, big dog. I hear what you're saying. Luke, there's been layoffs across Xbox. Maybe they laid off some of the team, cut the budgets. Now they can't do it because the player numbers for Starfield are low. Well, no, actually just a week ago, there was reporting coming out of the Xbox 2 podcast, which is co-hosted by Jez Corden, who works at Windows Central and has a lot of like connections within Xbox studios. Gets some stuff wrong for sure, but other times gotten stuff right. But at the very least, does seem to have sources.
It's just, he's just saying he makes shit up.
Specifically within Xbox.
I have no sources, but I just predict everything almost always right based off of finance.
Studios and adjacent places. And what he said was, quote, Bethesda's core team is still working on Starfield. In the year of our Lord and Savior Todd, 2025, he's saying their core team is still working on Starfield.
Yeah, very cool.
Like the core team is still okay, continuing. Starfield's gonna have more DLC from what I've heard. I don't know when. I just heard that at least the Starfield DLC and this post layoff, by the way, hasn't been canceled. It could be canceled in the future next quarter.
By the way, this is obviously a lie. The core team is not working on Starfield. But, I mean, it matters so goddamn little. Because whatever the next expansion is, It's gonna be a Starborn because they're gonna flesh out another piece of this Starfield lore that no one fucking wanted. It's gonna be great, boys. Trust in the system. Okay, they're gonna flesh out another piece of lore.
I don't know, but for right now, it's not canceled. So the core teams at Bethesda right now are working on Starfield DLC, and also Elder Scrolls 6 is full steam ahead. Couple things. For one, I just think it's funny that you're like, we're debating whether it's been canceled or not. Like most things, if they're awesome, you don't have to wonder. It's like, oh, have they canceled The Witcher 4 yet? Of course not. That's gonna be awesome. Why would they? Have they canceled GTA 6 yet? No, of course not. It's gonna be awesome. You only wonder about it if it's something sucky that you'd be like, yeah, it makes sense why they canceled. I see that. it's just funny that we're even.
This is, by the way, almost a perfect segue into. This is pretty much a perfect segue into me shitting on Fable fans, because that's also a video that's coming out today, or maybe it came out before this, but in case you haven't seen it, probably you're gonna be able to watch me roasting Fable fanboys, because as always, I was proven right by time. And Fable is now not delayed again, but it's delayed again until 2027 most likely. But I'm sure we're gonna get another Cope video by some kind of British person saying, "Oh, Fable being made 12 years now is actually a good thing. Most good games are made 12 years." I can't make this shit up. It's so bad.
Having this conversation for whether it exists or not. It's just funny to me. Other than that, this is also why I've been saying I would not expect Elder Scrolls 6 anytime soon. Like some people have been, in my opinion, smoking some hopium, you know, some sweet, sweet hopium, thinking that we're going to get Elder Scrolls 6 in like 2026. We're going to get it next year in the spring or something. And I'm like, guys, there's reporting that
2028 is absolutely the fastest that you can get hope for Elder Scrolls 6.
Part of their core teams are still working on Starfield. Like I don't even think they're all hands on deck with Elder Scrolls 6 yet. Like I think they're still kind of laying the stage for it. I don't think we see it until like 2028. I don't think we see it for a while, probably next gen consoles. So I would not get my hopes up. But according to this, it's not been canceled. Jez is saying it's, as of last week, still in production, and it's part of the core team that's working on it. It's not like they're sending it off to a small subsidiary spin-off team or something. It's the core team at Maryland that's working on it. And before anybody says, well, Luke, that actually could mean that it's really good. The core team also worked on Shattered Space, so don't get it twisted. You know,
Emil Pagraluro is gonna be the writer for the next second DLC for Starfield, and he's gonna be the lead writer on Elder Scrolls 6. So this means the timeline actually kind of clears itself up, considering, yeah, he is gonna be the lead writer for both things. And I mean, he already made the story of Starfield, which was complete dog water. He made Shattered Space and doubled down on everything that people said was bad about it, which was quadruple dog water. So yeah, listen, just the fact that Emil is not fired from Bethesda in front of a firing squad, wink, wink, I don't see any hopes for Elder Scrolls 6 to be good. I mean, it's bad.
This is not a situation where like there's some sort of crazy development where now they're putting the really good team on it. Like, no, it's the same team that worked on it before, and in my opinion, didn't do a great job. So just don't get your hopes up. That's all I'm saying. Level 2 pirates, dude. I forgot how uber leveled I was. This is one of the problems with Starfield, is that the endgame scaling turns just total ass. Like it just breaks the game like crazy. If you're high level, you pretty much have to go New Game Plus if you want to have fun. It's really, frankly, too bad. And that's assuming you can have fun. That's assuming there's fun to be had, which, you know, maybe that's a dangerous assumption to make. But I hear all of this discourse around Starfield ongoing, people still wondering whether they can salvage it. What's the point of all of this? And frankly, like, the reason why they haven't just walked away from Starfield at this point is because it is sort of a cash cow for the people who are most committed to it. There are thousands of people who still play Starfield every single day and have become conditioned and accustomed to spending a lot of money within the in-game store, which I know they're going to be like, Luke, it's paid mods. It's not an in-game store. It's a in-game shop where you can spend money on goods and services. It sounds like an in-game store to me, okay? And even if we just call it paid mods, it doesn't really change the fact of what's going on here, okay? Let me show you something. I mentioned at the very top of the video that one of the few things that BGS actually fixed in this update after months of us waiting was the creations menu within the game itself. And if we go there from the main menu, you can see it gives you this little notification.
Oh, it finally works? Right, the menu was bugged for such an extendedly long time. It was kind of crazy.
Loads. But this is where they sell all of the paid...
I forgot about that the Starfield mod menu was completely busted for a long time, right?
mods that some of which are partnered, such as the Watchtower DLC thing that I mentioned earlier, but others are made from independent creators, and they're smaller things like removing the color filter on the game. Others, though, are paid mods to like fix gear progression and things like that. Or if you want high level weapons, you can see those here. Or this mod that adds permadeath to the game so that you have to like actually really be careful, which is just kind of a fun little update and improvement. There's all sorts of things in here, but for years and years and years, we joked that Bethesda would put out a sort of buggy, broken game that was just good enough to sell to you, and then they would let modders fix it. And that was
Who joked about that? That was the expected result. That's not even a joke. That's like a... Even the hardcore Bethesda Defender crowd lives by that mantra. That Bethesda brings out a buggy game, then the hardcore player base demands that the modders make free shit for them to make it good. Well, not good in this case, but at least playable, right? And then they beg Bethesda to not release a patch because that's gonna break the mod, aka the Fallout 4 HD texture graphics pack that was released, what was it, a year ago, and still has completely killed Fallout 4 for a lot of people. It's laggy, it's stuttery, it's buggy. Well, it always was buggy, but you know, to a worse degree, right?
a joke for a long time. But now it literally is the case that they build a game that has problems and then they let somebody else...
God, I actually love this. The people who fucking buy this shit, they deserve the worst in life. I'm not even gonna lie. Look at this. Look at this. $350 for a apartment building. Everbright. I don't even know what this is. Seven buckaroonies.
Fix it, but
listen. If I could become a heroin addict for $6, that's a better deal than this shit.
They found the ultimate hack. They found a way to sell you the solution, to create a problem and then sell.
It's been like that forever. They didn't find a solution, Loki Poo. It is what it is. Anyway, is there anything else here? Probably not. He's gonna just ramble. Well, I'm also rambling, so can't really blame him for that. It's Starfield. You're supposed to ramble. Anyway, thanks for watching. That was our boy, Luke Steffens, also known as Lucky Poo. 10 out of 10. Bye.